There are a few tricky things that come up though when you're dividing polynomials, so keep an eye out for these two problems that may arise. First of all, the book sometimes gives you the terms out of order. Make sure you're always writing them from the highest power to the lowest power. And the second thing is if you have a polynomial that has a higher degree, you need to make sure that you have all the terms with the lower degree after it. The next two problems will talk about what this means. Let's try another one. This one's going to be a little different than the last because now I finally have a number in front of my x here and a number in front of my x squared here. So let's see how that goes through and changes the problem. Start by dividing. 3x divided by 3x squared is just x. Multiply back. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Subtract. This is 0, this will be 12x. Divide. 3x divided by 12x should be 4. Multiply back. 4 times 3x is 12x. Ooh, I forgot the bring down step. Luckily I could still do that at this point. So what am I doing now? I'm multiplying back. 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Subtract. 0 here. Oh, I don't need to write it. Negative 9, positive 8. I get a negative 1 as the remainder. Minus 1 over 3x minus 2. So here's the given problem. Now the first thing we need to do is rewrite this using the long division bar. So my n minus 6 goes on the outside. And here I have 4 plus n squared minus 2n. And already I see myself having a problem because I can't use the first step divide because n does not divide into 4. The problem with this one is that these terms are not in order. So I need to rewrite them. The n squared will go first, then the minus 2n, and then the plus 4. Now I can use my steps over here. Divide. N divided by n squared is n. Multiply back. N times n is n squared. N times negative 6 is negative 6n. Subtract. I'm going to subtract by distributing a negative. 0, 4n. Bring down the 4. Divide. N into n. 4 times. 4 times n is 4n. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Subtract. 0, 28. Take the 28, put it with the n minus 6. Here's my final answer. So here's a tricky one that has a lot of missing terms. Let's write it out with our long division bar and see what we can do. 8 and I have a 4x squared. I know the 4x squared needs to go first because it's the highest power. And then the 8 will follow, but what's missing in between there is a term for the x's. So I'm going to put a 0x in between those. So I need every single power from x squared down to the constant in here. So because this is missing, I need to put a 0x. And we'll see why in a moment. Alright, now I can go through my long division steps. Divide. 2x divided by 4x squared is 2x. Multiply back. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 1 is plus 2x. If I didn't have this 0x here, I would have the 8. And the 8 and the 2x would not have been like terms. So that's why this needs to be here. Subtract. This is 0. This is negative 2x. Bring down the 8. 2x into negative 2x is negative 1. Multiply back. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Subtract, I'm going to go through and change the signs. This is 0, this is 9. Take the remainder. Final answer. All right, last problem. This is number 25 in your book, and I chose it because it has a higher power than 2. It's got a 2n to the 4th in it, and it also is missing a term. And there's a whole lot of zeros that happen when we go through this problem. So let's start by writing our long division bar. 2n to the 4th minus n cubed, and remember now I have to put in a 0 n squared before I put in my minus 2n and my plus 1. Now, I can go through my steps here. Start with division. How many times does 2n go into 2n to the 4th? n cubed. Multiply back. 2n to the 4th minus n cubed. Subtract. So I change my signs here and I get 0 here. And now this is interesting because I get 0 here. That's fine. Let's keep going with the problem. I'm going to throw a variable onto the end of this just to see what happens. When I bring down, I'm really bringing down another 0 term. It's alright, let's keep going with our steps and see what happens. Divide. 2n divided by 0 n cubes is 0. And I can put an n squared there, but it's really just 0. Multiply back and I'm going to get 0 again. When I subtract 0 from 0, I get 0 again. But now when I bring down, I have a term. Thank goodness. Okay, back to the top. Divide. 2n divided by this, oh no, it's another 0. That's right. Keep going. Multiply back, I'm going to get 0 here and 0 here. When I subtract here, I get 0. When I subtract here, I'm going to continue with this negative 2n. Alright, I think I'm done with all of my crazy zeros. So now I just need to bring down this 1 and divide. Negative 2n squared divided by this will be negative 1. Multiply back. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And now I subtract. So I'm going to change the signs. Look down and I get 0 here and 0 here. So I have no remainder and I'm done up here. So let's take a look at our final answer. This was 0 and this was 0. So my final answer really is just n cubed minus 1.